Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dennis Ondari, and that is my channel name. With me today, I have a young journalist by the name
Omar Ahmed.
Is here, and we want to talk about violence against children because it is a current thing. And yeah, I'm so passionate about kids. I want to hear what this young journalist has for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Dennis. Today we're going to be talking about violence, specifically violence against children. Children have been going through a lot of violence, sexually and etc. So today we want to hear your views as a caregiver, as a person who's always, going, taking steps with teenagers, with the students, right?
All right.
So first of all, I'd love to ask you, what is child violence? What is violence?
Okay, when you talk about violence against children, it basically refers to all forms of violence that include physical, psychological, sexual, and even neglect. All right. When we talk about sexual, we know that young girls are being defiled each and every day. Young boys are being molested here and there. When you talk about neglect, it refers to negligence. Some children have been neglected by their parents. They cannot get like their basic needs like food, shelter, even clothing. And when you refer to physical abuse, it refers to a scenario where you find some parents are even taking blunt objects to beat up their children. Some house helps are taking cold water, like ice cold water. They pour on children. They take hot objects, they press them on children, and they inflict a lot of pain. So all those forms of abuse, they actually sum up to be called violence against children.
That's really tough, actually. So how can missing basic needs, inflicting pain through these blunt objects, or pouring water, how can it affect a child? How can this type of violence, this violence affect children?
Okay, basically that's a very good question. Thank you. Now, what are some of the effects of violence? That is what I'm asking. One, children who have been subjected to violence, they are likely to become aggressive. They are likely to lose the sense of love and become quite vengeful. So you find that in a learning institution, a child is always fighting others. That is a way of expressing, the pain they have gone through. Some of them are going to show withdrawn syndrome. They are never concentrating in class. They never see anything good. They are always absent-minded. They never get anything. They never even see the reason why they should be in school. Some of them are going to resort into drug and substance abuse. So you find them, they are peddling drugs in schools. You find them, they are out there in the streets abusing drugs. All right. Then of course some of them you are going to find that they may even decide to become thieves because this is the kind of pain which has been inflicted in them, and the only way they can express it is by going out there and also harassing other people. It's like what gets in is what comes out. So the pain in them has to come out by inflicting pain on other people.
That's tough. So what factors can actually cause this violence?
Well, we have quite a number of reasons which can cause this violence, but one of them will be peer pressure, all right? That when people are meeting out there, you hear that a parent will say, me, this is how I treat my children. Then it may not be the right way. For example, a parent will say, whenever my child cries, I take them and I put them in cold water, right? I freeze them. Then the other person will think like, oh, that is the right way. Then they're also going to take that way to think it is the right way of dealing with the child. But at the same time, you realize they're not helping the child. They're causing pain. Another form that can happen so that it brings about this sort of violence, it could be as a result of emotional torture. Some parents are actually going through a lot. So, because they are facing economic hardship, because they are facing, stress from their office and all sorts of, they result to expose and express that sort of anger to their children. In schools, we have culture that has been inculcated over time we used to have bullying, and it's unfortunate that it still happens in some schools. So people get to a school where bullying takes place, and they know there's a bullying culture. So through that bullying, they start bullying other people, and as they bully other people, they make it normal. So you see, that way people are going to think like, that is the way to go. So it can also result to violence. All right. Then there could also be exposure to media, social media. People are exposed to internet. For example, watching movies, what people do, how kids play, what parents do to other people. So I think the level of exposure has really played a big role in contributing to these factors. Yeah, those are some of the causes, but you can really not
expand a lot.
Yeah.
Now, how can we stop this kind of violence?
Well, that's a good question, because we must find a solution. One, prevention. Prevention. Remember, prevention is better
than cure.
Exactly. So let us try to prevent whatever we can. If we feel exposing our children is what is making them to face this violence, let's not expose them. That is one way of preventing. Number two, let us have child protection policies in our institutions. In schools, as a child goes to school, be it at primary level, at kindergarten, at high school, can we have child protection policies? And our policy will be self-guided. You know, this is how you're supposed to conduct yourself in school. This is how you're supposed to handle your neighbor, all right? Parents, we need to be present. Some of the episodes we listen to, as a person, as a caregiver, sometimes when I'm listening to my students, the kind of information I get from them, I realize some parents are really absent. All right. So whenever a child gets maybe harmed, gets tortured, they have no one to speak to. So let us be present, parents. To those who are listening out there, let us be present. All right. Then another thing we can do is that we now need to start creating awareness. How do we create awareness? Let us speak about violence. Let us not shy off. Speak about violence. All right. Reach out to people out there. Tell them what violence is. If you are a child and you have been subjected to these sorts of pain, speak up. Speak out, all right? Reach out to someone. Share your pain. Maybe there's someone who also underwent the same and they don't know how to come out and seek help. Let us seek help. Let us speak out, because a problem shared is a problem half solved. And through that, we're really going to have a better society where we can stop all these sorts of violence.
That's a really good sum up. As you have said, that speak out as a child. Speak out. Create awareness. Parents, be there for your children. That's a really good sum up. So that's all Mr. Dennis had for us today on his YouTube channel for ending violence against children. So I'm going to give it back to him to end the session.
All right, thank you guys. I'm a humanitarian, I'm a caregiver, and I love working with children. I love protecting children, and I believe it is my role to ensure that everyone has a safe space to live and to impact on their lives and lives of others positively. Stay tuned and see you next time. Goodbye.